Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very special day because I know it's been some time. I know it's been a little while. Right, but I'm back and I have something special that I want to discuss today because I've been seeing themes throughout 2021, 2020, with persons in terms of how they view their life, how they view their life purpose and whatnot, right? And I want to just go back to one of my first videos that I did, which is the one on self-worth and self-love. Now, while that video was well received, it did quite well. I had persons around me who I knew were struggling with this as well, and I saw them trying to adopt, you know, some of the things I would have recommended. But it has come to my attention that a lot of persons have not grasped the concept of what I meant in that video. So while I do mean, get to learn yourself, take yourself out, treat yourself, don't expect it from somebody else, while that's fine, a lot of persons forgot about the aspect where I spoke about, you know, really doing the work to heal yourself before you even enter another relationship with someone. So, with all that being said, I thought to myself and I was like, LaDonna, but you didn't even give them the tools and how to do it. It's one thing to tell someone, hey, you need to do this, but how are they going to do it? So I said, you know what, let me do a kind of part two, a more in-depth video of what exactly it takes to give yourself self-love. What exactly is healing, and what am I healing from? So let me just get one thing clear before we go on with the video, right? You are worthy, right? I'm talking to you. You are worthy of every single thing that you desire in this life, and I want you to remember that you are indeed worthy of it, right? Forget what's going on around you. Forget about your neighbor Sasha, Jim from down the road. Focus on yourself. Each and every one of us have our own particular mission in this life and our own journey, which is unique to ourselves, right? So we got that out of the way. Now the other thing is, a lot of us come from families that are quite dysfunctional, you know um, and because we have been exposed to this type of environment for so long, we believe that it's normal. So basically what happens in our childhood, we bring into our adulthood, right? And then many of our friends and families also grew up in dysfunctional families, and this is something that's very prominent in black homes. Yes, I don't want to be coming on the community, but because of slavery and the backlash in terms of the ripple effect it has had throughout the years, even though slavery has been abolished, it's finished, there is still a lot of effects caused by it. And there was this breakdown in the black family, even black families that both parents are together, and it's not about just having your mom and dad. What is the family dynamic? So before we begin, let me just do a little theory. Let me get my notes. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh God, sorry. According to McGraw-Hill Concise Dictionary of Modern Medicine, a dysfunctional family is defined as a family with many internal and external conflicts. These conflicts consist of sibling rivalry, parent-child conflict, domestic violence, mental illness, single parenthood, alcohol and drug abuse, extramarital affairs, gambling, and unemployment influences that affect the basic needs of the family unit. Bassam Abbas al-Ubaidi, I think it's Ubaidi, sorry if I butchered the name, describes family dynamics as the ultimate influence of how young people view themselves, others, and the world, and it also impacts their relationships, behaviors, and their future well-being. Al-Ubaidi goes further to state that emotional scarring is caused by repeated trauma and pain from parents' actions, words, and attitudes. Influenced individuals will resume various parenting roles rather than enjoying their childhood. Vital parts of their childhood are missing, which will eventually have harmful effects which extend into adulthood. This results in the use of escapism, also known as trying to escape past pain and trauma by practicing more destructive behaviors such as increased use of alcohol, drug abuse, or forced to repeat the mistreatment that was done to them. So now that we have the theory out of the way, a lot of us are thinking, I don't have any trauma, I don't have any pain. What are you talking about? A lot of us are unconscious of this because in our minds, once we aren't into drugs, once we aren't drinking, I'm not suicidal, I'm not depressed, that does not mean that you are not operating off a dysfunction into adulthood. So let's go into some of these signs of dysfunction, or you were raised in a dysfunctional family. So we have some here. Perfectionism is one. Is that a word? I think so. Poor communication, especially with regards to your emotions. You can't communicate in a very healthy way. You are quite hard on yourself, high levels of anxiety, you feel lonely and empty, you are constantly seeking. That one in particular is one I wanted to really stress on. You are constantly seeking comfort through companionship. Now, nothing is wrong with companionship. However, you have to understand that you have to become whole in order to have a healthy relationship with someone, and that other person also has to become a whole person, because what will usually result from it is either codependency or a dependent partner, and that is the poster child for a very toxic type of relationship, and we don't want that, right? We are past that. This is 2021. We have time, we are home, so we could actually use this time, to work on ourselves. Now it's no more excuses. Let's really deal with the problems at hand. So next, there are persons who are frustrated with their life. Like no matter what they do, you could just never feel satisfied or content with your life. You feel that your life has no purpose, and it's really hard to see the positive side of life. Pessimism is a big factor in this type of individual, and feelings of hopelessness and anguish exist in your everyday life, and that is tied in to the previous one. We also have some additional ones. So persons who exhibit self-harm or destructive behavior, mental health issues such as depression, suicidal thoughts, paranoia, and anxiety, sorry. There's also a lack of discipline due to the absence of a role model in your life while growing up. Therefore, you become irresponsible and or destructive. You also lose a childlike innocence, as probably in your childhood you may have had to take up the parent role. Sometimes our parents are not really there in our life, and we now have to become the parent figure, especially if we have siblings, or if we're by ourselves, we now become our own caretakers. Right? It's also, low confidence and self-esteem, or you may find yourself getting angry frequently and easily, and you prefer to be in isolation. Now that we have that out of the way, let's focus on how we can heal from this. So we've identified the traits and signs of a dysfunctional family, right? I'm pretty sure some of you guys are saying, oh, I didn't know that. Nah. Well, you know now. Right. So how can we heal from all this trauma and pain that we went through as a child? Violence. Many of us, we would have been beaten to learn, and it has shaped many of us. But there are other methods you can use to really discipline your children. But it takes really knowing your child, and sometimes it's not about trying to be anyone's friend, but it's more taking the time to get to know the individual, right? Sometimes it wasn't done for us, so we repeat the same patterns of trying to get our kids to listen, and that's not always, the right way to go. So, how can you heal from trauma? So, I myself, a lot of the things I would have listed there, I would have experienced, and this is not to blame anyone, my family, or anything like that. It's just that it's acknowledging what I've been through, how it has impacted my life and how it has played out into my adulthood. And I saw myself going through a loop of the same patterns over and over and over, especially with regards to my relationship with others, be it friends, be it family, be it companions. It has been always been a theme of, there has never just been peace, there has never been, like a steady flow of things going good. And I understand that relationships have their ups and downs, but not to this extent. And it took me last year when we went through the pandemic, I had gone through, like, as soon as they announced the shutdown and everyone will be home, it was revealed to me that, my partner who I was with ended up stepping out of the relationship at the time. And it was a bit difficult, painful. This was the first time I ever experienced something like this. And, I cried for a bit. I cried a lot. But something kind of shook me out of it. And I decided to go and read. 3 a.m. I woke up crying again, and I decided, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough of feeling sorry for yourself. Enough of blaming yourself for why this happened. Enough is enough. So I got up. I had this book of meditation for the body, a chakra healing book, and I began to read. And from reading that book, I just felt this calmness in my soul. It was just really different. I didn't feel sad anymore. Everything just disappeared, and it honestly blew my mind. And I was like, something is up. This is not normal. What is it? And I began my journey of self-healing from that point on. That was like my spiritual awakening happening from reading that book. And my relationship with my mom hadn't been the best. And one day I just sat there and I was thinking, I was like, I think it's time that we come out of this loop of patterns that we always have. We'll be good and then we start back fighting. It's not healthy, and this is not the type of life I want for myself. Alright? At the end of the day, I love my mom dearly and I want her to be happy, but I also want to make myself happy. And I thought to myself, what can I do to really change this? What can I do? And I sat there thinking, I was like, something, we always go back to blaming our parents for what they did, what we didn't like. We also have to remember that we have part to play in the entire thing. And I said, you know what, I think I would have to be the one to bring the change. And there's this saying that no matter the situation you're put into, right, you can only control wow, okay, speed racer. You can only control what is in your own power. And that means you can only control your reaction to things. You can only have control over yourself and not others. And sometimes it takes you, while you might be the child, while you may be the younger sibling, whoever you may be, you now if you are given the information, if you've reached a stage of self-realization, you have to now take the initiative to be that change for yourself and for your family and for whoever else is involved. You take charge of your life. You were given the power of choice and control over yourself, and that's the greatest gift of all. So when I thought about it, I said, maybe we need to set some healthy boundaries in place, and maybe I could work on how I communicate with my mom. And when I started this, although there were times that it was still difficult because I saw some of our old traits happening and coming back up, I eventually thought about it again, and I said, something, my mom went through a lot. She went through a lot, and she had her own personal journey of struggle, and she tried to raise me as best as she could. And I want you to realize that with your parents did their best. So although their best may not have met up to your standards, they actually did their best, well, the best that they could, given all the information that they knew. Please remember something. A lot of us that have dysfunctional families, there's something called generational curses, right? And it's not meant to say that it's punishing anyone, but more in a sense of our family lineage has been going through the same dysfunction over and over, and no one has been coming out of the cycle. We've just been repeating it generation after generation. The good thing is that a lot of us who were born from 1983 to 1995, you were born in the Pluto generation, right? Not the Pluto generation, my bad. The Pluto in Scorpio generation. All of us have a Pluto, but with each sign that Pluto goes in, it represents something for the generation. And the good thing is that our generation was meant to break this curse. And a lot of us have the power, to withstand whatever abuse. We have that in us. And we want to be the change going forward with our families. And I want you to note this. When you view your family, when you view yourself, I want you to remember that life, astrology, everything, it is matter, right? Matter is basically the elements, right? We are matter. This physical form here, we are matter. However, our soul, which uses this vessel that we are in to have the human experience, right? Our soul comes from an astral plane of energy. We are energy, right? When we die, our energy leaves the vessel. Okay? So I want you to step away from really viewing your parents, the typical labels that society gives us for our parents, and the typical role that each parent has to play in your life. Let's step away from that. Let us now view our parents in the form of energy, just energy. Let's bring it down to our level. Yeah, I know they used to say, if you guys are friend and them, we are bringing them down to our level, right? And you're gonna just look at it as, this is who they are, this is what they knew, this is what they were exposed to. They didn't have access to the information that I have. All right? And you can help them heal. Now, a lot of older folks are not interested in new age information. A lot of them are not. But you can now do your best, right? You can now set your healthy boundaries with the people in your life. You can now understand certain triggers, what triggers you, what triggers them, and you go above that, because at the end of the day, you have the information to change the cycle. And what you'll notice is you'll see a change. You will begin to see a change in everyone around you, because when you start to heal inside, you emit that healing energy onto others. All right? And you start to attract the right type of people for you in your life. And we've touched on family dynamics there, right? So let's go on to relationships. Now, with relationships, it takes a lot of work on self. As I said before, it is not just about carrying yourself to the movies, taking yourself shopping. It's not just about that. It goes even further and beyond, and it goes in a psychological context. Who am I? What do I need from a partner? For if any of these signs I listed there are what you have there, you want somebody to control you, to help you get better, to keep you company. If any of those things I listed in the signs of a dysfunctional adult are what you think you need in a family, that there is a sign that you need to pay attention to yourself and you have some work to do on yourself. So I'll use myself as an example. Again, all my business is being exposed here, but at the end of the day, I want to help others. I don't like seeing people stuck in cycles that I once was, and I want our world to heal. At the end of the day, we are the future. We are here to take over the mantle which was left for us. So, with me, I constantly saw myself, being in relationship after relationship, and honestly, like the most time I would have been single was like 3 months, and I've just been back to back in relationship. So last year after the scandal, right, with my ex-boyfriend, I would have met someone, and it was different. It was very, very different from what I was accustomed to. And I fell in love. And it had been so long since I felt that type of love for someone. And it was cut short, it was an abrupt ending. Um, Nothing major happened, it's just that the universe wasn't in alignment for it. And after a while, I figured out why it happened. Sometimes when we meet people, it's for lessons. It's for reminders of who we are. It's for reminders of our potential. And not all of our relationships are meant to be long term. So from there, I took a break. I took a break for myself, and I decided to become celibate. I decided to really focus on who I am and understanding me. And I've just been spending a lot of time really, reevaluating my life, reflecting on my past decisions, and really understanding what I need, my emotional needs from a partnership. And at first, it was hard because sometimes we want to slip back into our old patterns, but you have to really, you know, take that courage and take that control over yourself that you want to be the change in your life. And from there, I've just been enjoying myself. I've been doing things that I love. I think journaling is something really, really useful. Writing down how you feel. Sometimes we don't want to talk to persons because we may feel that they would never understand how we feel, but writing down how you feel and then going back and revisiting what you wrote is a really healing way, because sometimes we are just stuck on certain emotions, and once we go past that with time, we reflect and we're like, damn, I was thinking like that. Wow, I was really wrong. My perspective has changed. And it's a good way to self-treat yourself. It's a very therapeutic way to express yourself. And daily writing and daily manifestation of what you want. Sometimes we need to write what we want from a partner. And when you write this down, you have to ask yourself, but do I have these qualities in myself? Do you? Do you? And most of the time we don't. We don't have the qualities that we seek in someone. So that should be, a little guiding force as to, I need to work on this with myself. And With regards to that loneliness, feeling lonely, you are not alone. You have friends and family around you. I know many of us, we feel defeated in personal relationships because we've been going through relationship after relationship and it doesn't seem to work. But this is how this ties into what I said earlier with family dynamics. If you are emitting a dysfunctional type of energy, who do you think you're going to attract? You think you're going to attract someone that God intended for you? Or do you think you're going to attract someone who is just like you? There's a saying, you are what you attract. And that is one of the most accurate sayings I have ever heard in my life. And you have to just understand that you are in control of your life, you are in control of your actions, you are in control of your thoughts, and really taking the time to evaluate and really dissect yourself, understanding, who I am. I've learned that I don't really like people who are dependent on me. I've learned that on my previous choices and partners, I've always been choosing people that have issues because in my mind, I feel like I'm their savior and I can heal them. And what that has done to me is when I end up in these relationships and I try to help these people, they bring me down. They become a burden to me. And as a result, I leave. I leave because it has become detrimental to my health and well-being, and it's no longer a healthy environment for me to stay in. So really taking time to evaluate. Okay, all right. Okay. Getting my back there. Sorry there. Really taking the time to evaluate yourself, what you really want in this life is good. Take your time. What is the point of rushing love? Take your time. What are you running? What are you trying to rush? Are you watching that? I want to be married by this time. Forget all those things. Take time to heal yourself. Take time to get to know someone. Take your time. A lot of us, when we meet people, remember that we present the best versions of ourselves because we want to make a good first impression. And people do the same thing, right? Some people don't, but people do the same thing. And a lot of the times they are hiding behind this disguise because they themselves don't want to present the ugly parts of themselves. But in reality, the key to successful love is actually presenting those faults. And I don't mean you come out and you say, well, I'm abusive, so take it or leave it. I like to cough up people and whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you are working on yourself. So I am working on myself, he's working on himself. We recognize, hey, this has not been working for us. This type of behavior has not been working for us in our past relationships. Let's work on it, right? We come together, we recognize that, hey, I don't want to make the same mistake. I don't want to do this again because I've realized when I do this, it has me. And then we also have to understand that every person is different and we have to communicate what we really need. This whole ghosting thing, and if somebody bothering you, you're bottling it up and resentful. No. It is all that there is dysfunction. We want to move away from that and we want to come in a more healthy category. Sometimes it takes getting a bit uncomfortable and putting yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable. And I'm not saying put yourself in a situation that is detrimental to you, but I mean putting yourself in a situation that you are not accustomed to, but you have recognized that, hey, this is what I need to do in order to have a better relationship. It starts at home, so we have to revisit it again. So we revisit our problems from home, we work on the relationship with our family first, and then we extend it out to other people. Trust me, once you start here, it just trickles down. It's like a domino effect, and you start to see the differences. For me, journaling has been such an important role, reflecting on my life and praying and asking God for answers. Sometimes we have to pray and ask God to reveal certain things about ourselves. Whoever you may pray to, or whoever you believe in. Take some time and ask them to reveal what is the issue, what are my past traumas, what am I struggling with, what do I need to work on. Once you identify it, identify solutions for yourself. Do some reading. And I know some people don't like to read and they might prefer to go by someone. But now we are home here, and we have time now. So we have no excuse for not having time. A lot of the things we were usually preoccupied with, they are no longer available at the moment. So we have the time. Take time to invest in yourself. That's how I see it. It's a self-investment. So no more excuses, no more saying, I don't know where to start. You guys can feel free to send an email to me discussing the issue at hand, and I can help you myself. I feel like that's why I am here on this earth. My divine purpose is here to help people in areas where I have struggled. And I know that we have the strength to make the change for ourselves, for our future children, for generations that will come after us. We have the strength and the power to do so. Right? So I think that's the majority of what I wanted to discuss today. I thank you guys so much for your time and patience with me in this video. Feel free to send any, if you have any concerns, if you have any questions, you can comment down below. You can, if you feel it's too personal, you can send me an email in the email address that I've left down below. So I thank you guys so much for being with me during this video. Guys, I've been working on this for the very longest time. Longest time.
2,000 years.
But I finally have the energy, I'm finally in the mind space to do so. So with that, I want to just thank you guys again for everything, for watching the video, for taking time to invest in yourself. And remember that you are worthy of every single thing that you want, all your heart's desires. Remember that you are in control of your life. And with that,